that was written just before. It's a long one. It is a lot of light workers seem to struggle with how they feel, don't feel about the issue in Gaza and the plight of the Palestinians. Some feel it's too heavy and would rather not deal with it. Some go 100% love and light and say God will work it out. And so feel no need to take any action or claim to take no sides. And others are burdened by it and activated or revolutionized by it, but also may not be coming from purely neutral, loving space within. So my question is, what do you guys see around the issues, and how do you see light workers' potentially responsibility, if any?
Well, when you ask about responsibility, remember that is your ability to respond. And you can respond in the way that it feels natural for you. You are not bound to responding or doing something about every situation in your world. If it calls to you, then yes, it is helpful to do something. And it is not as hopeless as many of you think it to be. There is a sense of great disillusionment or disappointment or shock that can come with truly realizing all of what is taking place. As those who expose themselves to the understanding of the atrocities and injustice that has been committed in occupied Palestine and in many other places such as Africa, South America, the Indies, and so on, Oceania, etc. There is a sense of deep hopelessness, of deep fear that some experience initially. But this energy will not ultimately help you. Remember, you have to transmute all that you experience through tapping into Source's unconditional love. And these awakenings ought to inspire you to return into that unconditional love so that you can act. What does the action have to look like? It can look like any way that you want to help. Though we would say that raising awareness is one of the most important things. Though many are resisting becoming aware because the shock of the injustices and the oppression is so intense that their own inner protectors prevent them from looking at the enormity of the situation. Remember, revolution can and has been very peaceful. The most powerful revolutions in your recent times were built upon civil disobedience. And disobedience is far different than aggression. And this is the attitude you have to understand. To be disobedient doesn't mean you are fighting. It simply means you're not complying. It simply means that you have an awareness of your intrinsic right to your decisions, your opinions, your perspectives, and where you direct your energy financially, emotionally, and spiritually. And this means that you no longer participate in the systems that facilitate the oppression. And it means that you are active about understanding what the source of these systems are. Right now, in your world, a small elite population manipulates consciousness, manipulates money, and manipulates, yes, the minds, which falls under the umbrella of consciousness, manipulates the minds of the masses through the media. And therefore, you have to undo this spell, undo this programming. And what we have said about unconditional love is important in this as well, because you cannot wake somebody up while hating them, and even at an inner emotional level, having an aggressive attitude towards them simultaneously. You need to understand that you're breaking people free from the chains of media mind control is a loving act. And it must not be done with a sense of us versus them. It must be done with a deep awareness of liberation and love. And understanding unconditional love and free will means that you unconditionally accept if some people do not want to be free. Freedom comes with more responsibility, because the opposite of freedom is limitation and bondage. In freedom, you have thousands and millions and billions of options before you. Bondage and lack of freedom implies that you only have certain choices. And the media mind control machine presents limited choices. It makes people think that there are only a certain amount of options. And understand part of your fear-based conditioning means that many fear that responsibility, the ability to respond, of making a choice in the first place. And the reason why so many people seek to a higher authority outside of themselves is that they can give their responsibility, their ability to respond, over to someone who can make a better choice for them. This is what giving away your power means. This is the essence of powerlessness. It's this deep belief that I am not capable enough of choosing what's right for me. And I will trust in this higher authority outside of myself. The highest authority of all is source within all. You are the one who chooses. So let yourself deepen into that acceptance of responsibility, knowing that breaking free doesn't mean you have to become an absolute activist and go against what's exciting for you. Responsibility is not a burden. The distorted concept that responsibility is a burden is the way that you've been tricked into giving your power away. When you feel afraid of responsibility, you feel afraid of power, and you give both of those things to other people in your life. So this is ultimately the essence of what humanity needs to realize to step into the process of a peaceful revolution that is already unfolding and will define the next 16 to 20 years of your human time. The awareness of Source's unconditional love and freedom will lead you to new acts of civil disobedience that will break the hold of this elite, power-hungry, supreme violence machine.